Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome back to the channel with some breaking news coming from the lovely Poland. Yes, the Polish people have rejected globalism. They have officially elected their new president. Yes, Karol Nawrocki has been elected, of course, against Donald Tusk's liberal globalist movement and his government that is now facing a collapse and a vote of no confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through everything that we know so far from Poland. We're going to get your reaction live on this live stream as well. First things first, as initially reported on 2c.tv, our website, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has now called a no confidence vote amid the rising of the nationalist pressure. Yes, Nawrocki, who is now going to be the new president of Poland, his victory has clearly rattled the establishment. The vote of no confidence in Parliament is going to be for on the 11th of June, which, by the way, happens to be my birthday. So a great birthday present from Poland to 11th of June. A key date, not just because it's my birthday, but of course the no confidence vote against Donald Tusk's government. Of course, Nawrocki, who was an independent, but obviously a conservative nationalist candidate, backed by the Law and Justice Party, supported by the US President Donald J. Trump. One of the main things that we had was how close this election was. We have to talk about the details. We have to talk about where we're going to go from here and how this rejection of the Polish globalist is going to change many things for not just Poland, but Europe and the European Union. First things first. Karol Nawrocki, of course, his presidency is going to be starting on the 6th of August. The transition period starts today. He's going to be challenging Donald Tusk's pro-European agenda and, of course, through the veto powers and influence over foreign policies and everything else that he has, it's going to be making things very, very hard for Donald Tusk, his party, and anybody who wants to replace Donald Tusk, by the way, because even if Tusk goes, which he will, they have to do something because the president will be able to, and his people will be able to make things very hard by vetoing some of the policies. First things first, let's talk about the new president because during the election debate recently, he had a bit of a highlight moment when he was trolling his liberal opponent by placing the LGBT flag on his podium and saying, "Here you go, here's your flag," while saying that I'm a normal, traditional Polish person. My flag is the flag of Poland, and for my liberal opponents, I believe the LGBT flag should be his flag.
Zawsze z tą piękną polską biało-czerwoną flagą i ją będę reprezentował. Mam też, drodzy Państwo, dla pana Rafała Trzaskowskiego, bo ostatnio ucieka od tej symboliki mojego szefa sztabu, którego już wymieniał.
Genius, absolutely genius. Again, a huge congratulations to people in Poland. Let's not forget how close this was. We're going to talk about this as well. The Polish conservative movement continues to grow. Of course, Nawrocki is also good friends with Donald J. Trump. President Trump sent out his congratulations, saying, "Congratulations, Poland. You picked a winner." Now, this is going to be helping the relationship between the two countries, especially with everything that's going on, the tensions inside NATO, the tensions inside the European Union, and between the European Union and the United States. Having a strong ally in Poland would definitely help the American president. And of course, it will also help the Polish people who, for a very long time, in the name of unity, they've been told that the only option you could have is by surrendering your sovereignty to the European Union, because the European Union will have your back. Now, you can still be a partner to the European Union, but you have to put your country first. And of course, Karol Nawrocki has already said that he will put Poland first, and that's supposed to be on the table. For a long time, even the center-right in Poland, let alone the liberal globalists, were told to tell the public in Poland that you will not survive on your own. Because, of course, Russia's going to come take over. Or, of course, the communists will come back. And, of course, I don't know, maybe Adolf Hitler will come back. Something. There's always something. And they say, well, we're going to give you some handouts and free money. So just say yes to anything that Brussels tells you. Now, in recent years, the conservative movements, nationalist movements have been coming up to oppose crazy, idiotic policies coming from the unelected dictatorship in Brussels. Now, of course, with Nawrocki creating his own new movement, is going to be gathering support from normal Polish people who are sick and tired of the liberal globalist consensus, and we will see how it goes. Now, in terms of the election itself, it was extremely close. Throughout the whole night, the liberals thought that they would win it. Now, this was towards the end when they were looking at the second round, and Nawrocki was on 49%. Now, to the surprise of the liberals, things changed, and not a happy ending for them, of course. They can walk away with their LGBT flag. There is a statement we now have from the Karol Nawrocki. We're going to go to him. He said, ladies and gentlemen, we have now put a difficult and brutal election campaign behind us. Your votes have led to my election to the office of the President of the Republic of Poland. This is a great responsibility and obligation. I accept this decision with humility and respect. Every day during the campaign, traveling across Poland, I felt your support, not only in Poland but also abroad. I felt that you were with me, despite many manipulations and propaganda and the wave of hate that poured on me and my family. Thank you for every vote that you cast for me, for every kind word and gesture, for all expressions of support in this extremely difficult battle for Poland. We won together for the good of our beloved homeland. We want to live in a safe, economically strong country that cares for the weakest, a country that counts in international, European and transatlantic relations, a country that cares for its centuries-old traditions and respects its history. I will do my best to meet your expectations. You can be sure that as head of state, I will not let go of any of the issues that are important to Poland and Poles. I will represent you with dignity and on the international stage, ensuring that Poland is treated as a respected subject. Once again, I thank you for all your trust, which I will not disappoint. In a special way, I thank my closest ones, my wife Marta, my daughter Kasia, and sons Daniel and Antek for bravery, accompanying me on this long and difficult journey. Long live Poland! That's a statement from Karol Nawrocki. Of course, it's going to be an interesting period for the next few days. We have 8 days left, ladies and gentlemen. 8 days to go until the 11th of June, which is going to be massive because, as I said, it's my birthday. It's also the vote of no confidence in Donald Tusk's government in Parliament. Things are going to be absolutely fascinating in terms of the coverage. We'll be covering this saga on 2CTV as your global news channel as usual. Let's get some reaction from you lovely humans. First, let's go to the 2CTV Plus members. If you want to be a member, go on 2c.tv, become a member. Of course, download the 2CTV app. That's your one-stop shop for everything. First, we have AFC Man UK saying various swings and roundabouts across Europe at the moment as the Netherlands faces turmoil. Poland has hope. That's true. Dasman says if the PVV were to win and take over, wouldn't the EU just block it? The EU doesn't have control over what happens in the Netherlands in terms of the elections. It will be unconstitutional. Marmite says Karol Nawrocki's move in placing the flag on the leftist podium is so far the most gangster move of the year. It was kind of good. And of course, we got another comment saying there's finally some good news. Now, let's get some super chats on YouTube as well. The first one saying, what is this? Britain and France burning once again. Happy news. On that happy note, prove that they can't even protect their own citizens, yet still feel entitled to worry about Gaza. Fix your own house before playing global savior. It is Europe versus the peaceful. Wait, what? Europe versus the peaceful. As well, it doesn't mean that Europe is no longer peaceful. I think that's what it means. Yeah, but we don't get this sort of level of chaos in Poland, for example. I wonder why. Because the Polish people are not going to stand for this. What you see on the streets of Paris or London. Wash Cohen says the WWE John Cena song in the background. Yeah, it was very gangster. Also, I have a feeling we're going to get copyrighted. We get copyright strike for showing that video with that music. Alison says, you never know. Look what happened in Canada. Well, the election is over. Poland, unlike Canada, voted for Karol Nawrocki. Now, what their next battle is, because obviously on the 11th of June, when we have the vote of no confidence, Donald Tusk could still rally the troops in Parliament to just about secure his own fate, but the movement has already started. If you have Donald Tusk and his team staying in Parliament while Nawrocki is president, you are going to be seeing the crack. So people in Poland will notice over the next few years that their parliamentarians are acting this way and their president the other way around. And they could judge which side is correct. And of course, from my own bias, my own opinion is that, of course, the president's side will be correct in exposing the problems in Parliament by the current Prime Minister, Tusk. So, if he stays, which is likely, it's not the end, because it will just energize the conservative movements across the country in Poland, so that the next actual parliamentary elections, they will completely take over. It's a perfect opportunity in Poland for the nationalists to start their movements now. They think that they've won. They think they've got the president. Yes, well done. But this is just the beginning of the fight. If you want to go against complacency and incompetence coming from the Liberal government, then of course, you judge the performance of the government, you judge the performance of Parliament, and then when the time comes, when the election comes, of course, kick him out. Now, if somehow the vote of no confidence on the 11th of June goes badly for Tusk, which again, he can survive that, then that time comes forward and people in Poland will have to start campaigning immediately. People who voted, every single person who voted for Karol Nawrocki, they have to get up. They have to get out now. They have to start. In fact, even if the vote of no confidence goes in favor of Tusk and his partners in Parliament, you still have to campaign now. Nawrocki's side needs to start now. Deborah Friedman says, as a Jew whose paternal grandfather's entire family perished in Auschwitz, I can't believe. I'm so happy about the right-wing parties taking over in Europe. Well done, Poland. It's going well. It's definitely going well. Now, again, we also have this upcoming snap election in the Netherlands, which we talked about earlier. There's a massive opportunity now for Wilders to re-energize because, of course, because of all the difficulties with this coalition in the Netherlands, even in terms of the approval rating for the PVV went down a little bit, but they're still high, so they can easily bring it back. So the Netherlands have the great opportunity. Austria with their robust culture. We've got Poland here. There are many countries that are basically bringing back that energized movement, including in France. There's a huge opportunity in Germany going forward. Of course, the Germans have to wait a little bit, but there is definitely an opportunity as well. And we'll find out what happens in the UK, I guess. Another super chat from Nomad saying, well, in democracy, nationalists can also collapse for any reason. When the other side wins, they change the DNA of the society, brainwashing kids. Not necessarily in democracies. It doesn't work that way, because in order to fully brainwash, in terms of, because if you're talking about politicians and parties in power, because brainwashing happens in democracies very different to dictatorships. So, for example, Chairman Mao, he worked very hard to force the mentality of China to change. It took a while, but the dictatorships have the time. They have that privilege. They can just be like, okay, in the next 20 years, we're going to ensure every single Chinese person becomes a collectivist. And they did. In democracies, you don't have that privilege as a party or as a politician. So what you end up doing is you use the powers outside of politics. So in the US, in California, for example, in the UK and many other countries in Canada, it's been the institutions, the establishment, the cultural institutions, arts, media, all these areas, education system, they were infiltrated, and the people in charge, brainwash. So this comment doesn't apply to democracies. Donald Tusk's party, or Nawrocki's, his team, let's just call it, because obviously he was independent, or like the Law and Justice Party, they don't have the power or privilege to brainwash if they win or when they win. That's not really how it works. Keir Starmer is Prime Minister. The Labour Party can't brainwash because you don't have the time. And people in democracies are very skeptical about political parties in general. It's funny. People always say, for example, even in the UK, oh, well, we're not going to listen to the political parties. They're brainwashing us. We're not stupid. And then people then get brainwashed by the media or the institutions or their teachers or the lecturers at universities. And by the way, I'm not saying every person, when I say people, since it's an aspect of societies. These are the young, liberal, middle-class kids. You know, they claim, oh, no, we will stand against the power. And then they're like, oh, yes, Mr. Teacher, yes, I do believe I have multiple genders. So yeah, that sort of stuff could easily happen, changing the DNA of society in countries like China, because you don't have to worry about elections. You have a whole agenda and program as leader, and it could just carry it forward. Going back to the 2CTV Plus members on Discord, Bloxer83 says that the youngsters here are crying. They say, who? He's a football hooligan and will arrest immigrants. Wait, this is an out of context comment. I don't know what that means. Pete says, and that is the crux of it. The people in Poland won't stand for it. Here, too many sheeple. Bah. I love the bah at the end as well. All right, let's go back to some non-super chats on YouTube. Michael says, we don't need energized movement, just real movement. Energizing a movement is not a fake movement. And it simply means you energize the real movement. You bring it up. You can't just have a movement. It's like, oh, I have an idea, I have a movement, and it'll be like, it's gonna go. No, you have to work hard. You have to campaign. You have to have grassroots. You have to have people essentially doing the work as well as you. So we'll have to find out how the Polish people will react depending on what happens on the 11th of June and what happens afterwards. Now, Sadistic Atheist says, born in the UK, 1965. I grew up knowing freedom. I feel sorry for the current generation that will never know or experience what we used to have. Well, at least not in Britain, yeah. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. Yeah, actually, most young people in Poland voted for Nawrocki, 60% of the 18 to 30-year-olds. Yeah, of course. I mean, one of the whole points of their populist nationalist movements in Europe is that they are empowered by the young people, the younger generation. And that's exactly what we've been saying for in recent times. Obviously, it's very different to the young liberal middle classes in privileged areas like in California, that they can easily get brainwashed, or in North London, I mean, Camden, Islington, those areas, they are in their own bubble and they listen to their own teachers. Like, oh yes, I have 50 million genders. Thank you very much, Mr. Teacher. This is a difference in terms of cultures that don't really value the traditional way of life. Cultures like in London, basically. whereas you don't really have that in many other places. Holy News says, if you grew up in the UK, you were not free, but under the empire. You can be free and be under the empire. I don't think people know how things worked, even when Britain had the British Empire. People were more free in the 19th century and early 20th century than now. Now, there were certain restrictions, but you still had your individual liberty was there because it was protected by the English Constitution. Having an empire doesn't really, the Americans have an empire. We live under the American empire, but people in America are free, as long as they are not in a democrat state. So, all right. Izzy says, damn it, Maya, fan mail post box. As if for my birthday. You gave a birthday and a wedding, and fans would like to help you celebrate. Now answer me. should we set up some sort of PO box or something? Yeah, I'm not going to give you my home address. That's not really safe, but it's fine. Actually, you can give me a present. If anybody wants to give me a present, become a member of 2CTV Plus. The link is in the description as well. 2c.tv. Just go on and become a member today and download the 2CTV app. You get access to everything there. We have our new 2CTV podcast as well on there. Now, do we have anything from 2CTV Plus members? Speaking of which, there we go. Yes, we do. Hi, Priestess says that the Empire needs to strike back. Bring it back, guys. It is a shame, but I don't think any of these countries have the balls to vote for change. Same in Germany, same in France, the same globalist politics. It's mostly because of the influence that the liberal globalists have had. As I said, they took control of our institutions and the academia and all this. It makes it very hard when you end up brainwashing a big chunk of the younger generation. So you have to find a way to take back control of those institutions. Otherwise, there's no point. Lady J. Windsor says, I'm already a member of 2CTV Plus. Give us a PO box. Should we do that? That would be funny. If people start sending me like bombs and stuff like that. White powder. Yeah, that's going to be safe, isn't it? I guess the best way is... Actually, we're going to have the new media conference on the 9th of August, which we are organizing. We're going to bring all the new media outlets all together in London. If you come, then you can bring your gifts. That's the best way. We're going to have security, so we're going to check everything anyway. What is the best way to become a member? Through YouTube? No. As I said, become a member by going on 2c.tv. The link is in the description, not on YouTube. There's a join button on YouTube. That's controlled by YouTube and Google. That's nothing to do with me. You become a YouTube member, they take the money and all that. Become a member of 2CTV Plus by going on 2c, the www.2c.tv. That's our official website. Become a member there and then download the 2CTV app on your phone. Then you can actually watch everything there and put it on your smart TV. We are also going to be introducing our smart TV apps on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Google Chrome, Roku thingy, whatever it's called, and Samsung smart TVs and everything else. That's also coming very soon. But for now, you can actually cast it from your phone to your smart TVs. As it says, yes, you should. Yes, you should. We send gifts. Watch other channels. Yeah, but I got enemies who want to kill me. So I'll set up some sort of PO box for you guys. Bloody hell. Thank you for your kindness, by the way, Izzy and everybody else. What's this? Sparky Man says, can we message here as well as YouTube? How cool. Keep up the great work, man. So this is one of the new perks we've now created for 2CTV Plus members. Because if you post there, that's on 2CTV Plus chat forum on our private Discord, then your comments pop up first, and then super chats here, obviously, as well, and then non-super chats. Re6 says, remember the gun laws and culture is very different in the former Eastern blocs, and they don't want communism back. That's very true. You do not mess with those guys in Poland. Let's get some non-super chats from YouTube again. What is happening here? Izzy says, I sent a box of snacks to a YouTuber because he wanted some Arabic food and spices. He loved the saffron. You're very proactive, you see. Super chat from PC says, Maya, recall the time last July someone tried to get into your old flat. Yes, that was fun, wasn't it? I love how you remember the exact month. Similar thing happened to me last night. At 1 a.m., a guy rang my bell, looked Arab. Looked Arab. Could have been Pakistani, by the way. We called the police, did not open the door, he vanished. Yeah, that was a fun experience. It was last July. I was in the middle of a live stream. Of course, I get death threats all the time. And a few months before that, there was a kidnapping attempt outside my flat in Covent Garden. Obviously, we had to move. This was the IRGC, the Iranian embassy, trying to like scare me. But then, yes, there was a time around July, I think, we were in the middle of a live stream, and then this guy started banging on the door, and I did eventually like say, "What's going on?" And then he was trying to enter, and I said, "Just go." And then he didn't stop. He kept trying to break in. So I kept the live stream going. You can still find it. I don't know what the title of that video was. And then the police came. Luckily, at that point, because I was dealing with death threats and the IRGC, my phone number, if I call the police, is on a priority list. So they came within like 10 minutes. And then the guy disappeared. I remember the police came and said he didn't have an ID, he didn't have a phone. Who walks around London without a phone? And he could hardly speak English as well. So that's just, as Sadiq Khan says, that's just part of the package. Living in London, it's full of drama, right? Do we have anything on 2C TV Plus? No, that's all the comments here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, become a member of 2C TV Plus. That's the best way you can give me a birthday present, which is coming. Also, don't forget, speaking of Poland, Stefan Thompson, Visegrad 24, is also joining us for our new media conference, which will be held on the 9th of August. We are going to be selling tickets very soon, so stay tuned on that. Also, this is the link to the website, 2c.tv. Become a member today. You get 1 month free if you join as an annual subscriber. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.